Hey, champions, it is getting cold in California. That's why I'm wearing this. I'm about to head out to Austin, Texas, which is a little warmer for the War Room. And your assignment, you haven't had one in a while because the last one was pretty big. But the assignment for today, December 10th, for the next 2 weeks, although we're meeting this Friday on the 14th, the assignment is to review Module 4. Now, some of you were not at Module 4, and it was about 2 hours, so have a look at that and then review it. So you've got 4 hours work there, but the lesson is designed for 3.5 hours. I have the customer value journey template that was uploaded. I figured out why I couldn't get the slide deck up because it was over 100 megabytes, so I divided it into 2 parts, page 1 to 45, and then page 46 up until 95, I believe. So go through those slides. Those are the slides that were written out by Ryan Dice, a digital marketer. That's who I'm going to see tomorrow and the next day. And then study the 8 phases of the customer journey, because that customer journey is what digital marketer does every single time with their team to find out the path that someone is going through. Now that helps people build a funnel. It's almost the blueprint to the funnel. Remember, it's not the growth ramp. That's for the entire company and business that you're building, your brand. It's not the before and after matrix. That's for an individual who is going through that customer journey, the customer value journey, CBJ. That's what their experience is like. What the customer value journey is the actual path that the customer will take when they're a prospect, and then ascending all the way to becoming an advocate and promoting the business. Now, as I mentioned in Module 4, and because some of you were not there, expect to coach people in Guerrilla Business coaching. Expect to coach people who are wealthier than you, who are more successful in business than you, who have done more in business than you've ever done. Expect that. If that's a source of intimidation, then this training is not for you, because I only mentor at the highest level people who are more successful and wealthier and have done more than I have. I did recently 2 deep dives back to back. It's in the Productive Today fan page. If you go to productivetoday.com, it'll go straight to facebook.com/Alex Mondosian fan. And I did 2 back-to-back, Saturday and Sunday. Never done that before. One was with the Family Wealth Advisor, and another one was with Dr. Jack, who has purchased a second round of $30,000, and he has 8 offices. They're worth $2 to $3 million each in production, and he's doing it through high frequency, which means low ticket patients that are coming through. Most of them Hispanic, so most of his offices speak Spanish. He's Armenian, so it's not like there are Armenians coming in. And he's going to sell that cluster, and I'm coaching him on how to do that and how to train people so they can scale. And I don't scale well, but I can teach how to scale well. You see how that works? So prepare to coach someone who is wealthier, bigger in stature and status, and probably better at marketing or a business than you are, has more experience. That's not the point of Guerrilla Business coaching. The point is you're going to be coaching them on ways that they haven't thought of. You're going to be coaching them on ways that they haven't looked at. You're going to be giving them planning tools, which all of these are in each of the modules, and assessments that they haven't thought of or done. Now, maybe they are familiar with some of the things. If they've gone through War Room, they probably are, but you probably won't get a business person like that. I can almost guarantee if it's someone in Europe or outside the United States, they haven't seen any of these, almost with absolute certainty, or Asia. So be prepared mentally and emotionally for that, because physically, your job is not to make them successful. Your job is not to make sure they get out of debt. Your job is to coach them and give them the capacity to do that without complicating things for yourself emotionally or for them, and to have high intention, low attachment. And anytime you have an issue dealing with business coaching, or if it's business related, then I'm the person to come to for feedback. If you go through Michelle, then Michelle's going to go to Sandra, and Sandra's going to come to me. And that's not the chain of command I'm looking for, because it makes my job a lot tougher, because it's multiple parties, and usually the message gets diluted. That happened recently with Diana, Michelle, and Sandra, and I'm 100% responsible because I didn't make it clear. Just in case, Michelle, you're watching, and Diana, and you think that this is directed towards you. Ultimately, it's directed towards me because of a lack of coaching at Marketing Online. Sandra will be doing the team management, but when there's an issue, going to her, that's business related, not credit card, right? Not payment, but that's business related. They have a business concern and they don't know what to do, and you don't know what to do. Then you come to me on, I don't know if it's WhatsApp or if it's Skype that we're on, but come to me. You know how to reach me. Every one of you can get a hold of me, and then we'll handle the problem quickly. And I don't know if I can get to you right away, but probably within 24 to 48 hours, if I'm not traveling, I will, even if I'm in Australia. Now, you're not coaching anyone yet, but some of you are coaching for GBO, and sometimes business issues are coming up, and you come to me and we'll settle it. Not a credit card issue. Once again, I want to be crystal clear, and not a support desk issue, like I can't get into Kajabi, or I can't do the membership site and open it up, or my email is not working. Nothing like that. Business related, business principle related, because Sandra most likely cannot answer that question as well, especially for GBO business, because she's not going through this right now. So she would know what you're talking about. I want to make that crystal clear in case there was any miscommunication on my part, which there was. And that way my expectations will be met, and I won't have one of my upsets like, okay, why is this happening? We're spending time on stuff that could have been resolved with a simple Skype, WhatsApp, or an email. Okay, crystal clear. All right, that's not a reprimand. All right, that is direct communication, which I was void of doing before. All right, and then Ricardo said something deep into module 4, like, okay, so now that we have this information, what are we going to do with it? Well, he didn't say it that way, but the essence of it is, okay, when we have the information, then how do we apply it? How do we execute it? Where's the value of this information so that we can make it valuable? Okay, I'm trying to be as fair to Ricardo as possible, and if he wants to chime in and to revise what I'm saying, then go right ahead, Ricardo, because I thought it was a very good question. And the answer to that is you can't do anything yet because you're not done with it. You go all the way back to the original curriculum, and it's the curriculum pyramid, and that's the pyramid of fluency and ultimately mastery. Now, right now, you're not even at the stage of literacy because we haven't completed it yet. But once you're at literacy, then the next step is to really know how to do it. And the first person I want you to do it for is yourself, either your real business or your imaginary business, if you don't have one. Okay, that's the first one I want to do. And I'm going to be looking over what you send me, so I know that you're doing it the way that it was intended to be, because chances are version 1, which is better than version none, won't be the way that a fluent person will do it. You're still at literacy. You're still learning. Now, once you're at fluency, then you'll know it backwards and forwards. Then you'll know it from all angles. Then if a question comes to you, you'll be fluent, and you will be speaking the language of the GBO business mentor. All right. So the key to this whole training is give you training that you would have never gotten. You wouldn't get it at any MBA program, right? Any Masters of Business and Administration program in any university anywhere in the world. You're going to get it from people who have done it and who live it. And in fact, the reason I'm teaching it is because I don't believe I'm fluent yet. Now, that seems odd, but my fluency is when I actually do it. That's not mastery. If I did it as a master, then I'd be doing it again and again and again. I can teach it, but it's difficult to take my company, which didn't use these tools in starting, and then teaching my people how to be part of it, because it's a great team and talent that makes these things work in a company that's going to grow. and not the solopreneur, which is what you're used to. We're going beyond the solopreneur. And because most of you are solopreneurs, it's going to feel uncomfortable when you're dealing with someone who may have 10 employees or 15 employees. Doesn't mean you can't coach them. You have the tools, and once you know how to coach with fluency on those tools, then you can mentor them easily and feel very confident about it. In fact, you will be smarter than them in this area. That's my answer to Ricardo and you if you're wondering what you're going to do with it, because all of this, I believe, is new to you. So that's a cause not for fear, it's a cause for excitement and celebration. It can be a little scary, but imagine what you're learning and what was I supposed to do? Now, the right thing to do as a business person, what my colleagues would say, is bring on people who've already gone through this and give them the GBO business folks, right? And I've done that before and I failed, because what I did with Harv and Ultimate Internet Bootcamp is I got digital marketers who were really good at what they did, but they weren't coaches. So I taught them the process of coaching, and they were really good at digital marketing. And then there was a lot of stealing and poaching happening if they disagreed with what I was teaching. They didn't know the big picture, and they didn't know why I would be teaching certain things, because I knew the big picture, and I knew that I could be teaching other things, probably what they wanted to teach, but I didn't, because it wasn't in the right sequence in the curriculum pyramid, in the way I teach curricula, which right now Michelle Bassett knows and is learning. I think she's literate. She'll be fluent after she's done with Zero Limits Mastery. So this overview is a little longer because I want it almost as an invocation, so you understand that if I hired digital marketers to coach, then I was hiring for skill versus attitude, right? But with you, I'm hiring attitude and I'm teaching you skill. And the big difference is that because I'm teaching you the skill and you already have the attitude, which is not teachable, then we'll have a company that won't end up like what happened with Harv and me. And there were a bunch of reasons why that happened. Harv made some promises and make 100K working an hour a day. Well, that's possible. I do it, right? Make 100K a year working an hour a day. I could do it. But for people starting up from scratch, they couldn't do it. And they were upset because they had unmet expectations. And I believe it was a miscommunication, even though it's possible. It wasn't for that group and their before and after matrix, and their journey wasn't addressed. So I hope that's clear. If you have questions about what I said, you can reach out to me so I can clarify them. I don't want miscommunication here, but I'm hiring for attitude, not for skill. I have been coached to hire people who already know it and not work with people who don't know it. Like you don't know it. But I've made that mistake before, and so I decided not to go that route and give you an opportunity, even if you didn't coach, even if you didn't mentor, to have a world-class education at the lowest cash outlay possible, not for $30,000 a year, but I forgot what I charged you, but it was very, very little. I know for me, it was, I think, $3,000 total. So whatever you paid, thank you. But that's what I wanted to do to make it feasible financially, and yet teach you something you would never get, whether you want to utilize it or not. As I've anticipated, it's not everyone is going to be doing coaching here. Okay, not everyone's going to want to, but why not learn it like a champion? And if you decide to go to the fluency and mastery route, then you'll get to be mentoring. There's a lot of work ahead. You can't collapse, 4 or 5 months work into 30 years of experience. But my intention was to do this over the course of a year, so at least you became highly literate and almost fluent after a year. Michelle's asked me several times, when will we get the business coaching students? And I mistakenly said, well, I'm aiming for 2019. Well, that's a mistake because I don't think any of you will be ready. I'm very, I love you as my champion. And so I end up being very ambitious, and that is something where I misspoke. I have no idea when we'll be starting. I have people that I could bring in, but I wouldn't give those people to you because the number of times you would be reaching out to me, I should be doing the mentoring as I am with these 30K clients. Now, will they be 30K clients? No, they won't be. They won't be. Will they be of the same caliber? Yeah, I think they will be of the same caliber, but they won't be 30K clients because there won't be a deep dive involved. Potentially, I'll do a deep dive and then you coach them. But the deep dive is so intimate, and I put 3 parts into the fan page. If you go to, let's go to facebook.com/Alex Mondosian fan. If you kind of see what's involved, and I gave you a glimpse through those 3 parts. It's very, very intimate. They want to be working with me. So I'd have to reframe the whole process, charge them less. If they work for me, it would be more. If they work with you, it would be less. Not that you probably would be a better coach than I would ultimately, and definitely be more patient. But I would have more experience. And so in areas where they were facing a challenge that you had no concept of because you never faced it before, and I faced it many, many times, such as hiring for skill and then teaching attitude, that's a mistake. I hire for attitude and train for skill, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So look at it as a world-class business education. You won't get it anywhere else. Definitely for the cash outlay, you could join me for a Genius Network and you could get it, but that's $30,000 US, and you're more than welcome to come to be highly fluent. That money would go to them. All right, so because this is kind of scary, then I want you to do at least 2 scary cards. Write them and then execute them. So here are some scary cards. Allie Maslin. I was afraid to ask her to do a virtual book tour because I knew she had a publisher. It would be a big headache for me. I knew she'd say yes, but then I have to convince the publisher. We're having a virtual book tour with her this Friday. I'd like you to purchase her book, Scale or Fail, for 99 cents. I will pay you back if the 99 cents is an issue. The Harvey McKay event, I was scared to enroll people because these are friends of mine who are more successful, $10,000 each, and I enrolled 3 people. And there's a bunch of scary things. PFM is Pathfinder Slides, Pathfinder Mastermind Slides. I taught a new class called Radical Repurposing, and I was teaching it to people much smarter than me. I designed that for me to be the dumbest person in the room. I also asked for testimonials from Ryan Dice, Perry Belcher, Roland Fraser, who were people who were smarter, wealthier, and more experienced. Even some of them are younger, right? So I asked for their testimonials, and that was scary. Now I put my scary cards right in front. I do it in different color ink, just like I do my flip charts. And for this year, these are all the scare cards or scary action cards that I've done so far. I just finished one, and that was with Dave Asprey, me asking him to do a virtual book tour with me. And he said yes, and I did it on Sunday morning before the deep dive. And that was with Minnie, because when people come in, Minnie barks, that was a huge and scary thing. And it went really well. I think it's my best virtual book tour ever. More on when that will be broadcast. So let's do a review. The review is module 4. Go over and watch that for the second time. Those of you who didn't make it, watch it twice, because that will be a review. Study the CVJ, the Customer Value Journey slide deck. It's in 2 parts. It's uploaded on this members area. Study the 8 phases of the value journey and notice where the arrows are going, and the slide deck will help discuss that. And then ASA podcast, Seeding Through Storytelling, it's episode 37 and episode number 36. 37 is the secret to prevent sales rejection. I thought that would be appropriate. And the remarkable power of 3. And you notice that these sections are in 3 sections. This first one is review, next ASA, all selling aside, and then the scary cards. I like to put things in 3 if you haven't noticed. That's your assignment. Good luck, and I hope you complete your mission. You have 2 weeks. We do have a training this Friday, and that will be module 5. All right? Now, once we're done with all the modules, now we're going to go into the actual work and execution. That's the learning part, and then we're going to go into doing. And I imagine the doing will last about 3 to 6 months, okay? So if you anticipated more revenue as a result of being a coach, I apologize for the miscommunication. It's my fault because I was over ambitious. I want to make sure you're ready and that you're confident going in, because my job is to protect your confidence. You are more important than my clients. If I take care of you, you will take care of the clients. All right. All good wishes and best of success. See you Friday.